Well, hey there, guys. I'm Axel the Beast, and this is the Curiosity Shop, the ZeldaEngine.net video mailbag where I answer your Zelda questions. Our first question comes from Lorelei Scrimore. What do you think is the creepiest character, not enemy, in the series? Well, I don't want to sound like a stereotypical, 5-year-old kid, but it was actually Honey and Darling for me from Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. That's the couple who's always dancing, talking about how much they're in love with each other, and in Majora's Mask, they made a collection of creepy noises to accompany this. Just the creepiest, happy, sighing and moaning that I can't even describe. I mean, that's a fine concept, but they just executed it in the creepiest possible way. And this is actually my least favorite NPC in general, not just the creepiest, but yeah. Be sure to tell me your guys' creepiest NPC, though. The Ash Girl asks, what is the worst Zelda game you've ever played that does not include Twilight Princess? What is the best one? Please say The Wind Waker. Well, ironically, including Twilight Princess, my least favorite actually is The Wind Waker. I know this might come as a surprise to some people who've watched the mailbag, but with Twilight Princess, I think that some aspects of the visual style were sort of the wrong direction for the series, and I think that there's a lot of little things wrong with it that I complain about all the time because it takes so long for me to explain all the little details of why I think this one little thing was a problem. But the thing is that I think The Wind Waker had a lot of bigger problems. The sailing drove me crazy. There was very little time spent with what's familiar to me with Zelda games. What's the adventure gameplay. I mean, I guess it's adventure with the sailing, but it just got so dull and boring with so little to do and so little fulfilling gameplay for me. I think this whole thing that just bogged it down quite a lot for me. And the difficulty was much in the same way. Twilight Princess suffered from difficulty issues as well, but in a slightly different way that was just a little less annoying to me. So yeah, The Wind Waker is actually my least favorite. Sorry to say that. My favorite one is kind of a mailbag, well-known mailbag thing. I probably have covered it sometimes repeatedly, somewhat recently. It's Majora's Mask. I won't go into too much detail, but be sure to tell me your guys' favorite and least favorite Zelda game in the comments. Soldier asks, in the last mailbag you said that there are some elements from Twilight Princess you'd might like to see again. What are those elements? Well, I think that there's a lot of neat little ideas that they tried out in the game. I mean, there wasn't a lot of really original stuff, but there was a lot of nice little innovations that were thrown into the standard formula that I enjoyed quite a lot. In particular, throwing in all the treasure chests in the dungeon with lots of rupees isn't a new thing, but they went crazy with it in Twilight Princess, and I think that adds this treasure hunting feel to things that I think in a game where there's a lot more to spend your money on or drain your money, that's a great concept. They could even attach it to the treasure thing you have in Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks. That'd be cool. I also love the optional dungeons and caves that you can just explore and do the same thing, collect treasures and just find stuff. I like the lantern caves. I love that idea. I would love to see more just caves and tunnels hidden around the overworld to just explore. I liked the way it handled some of the bottle stuff, particularly with the lamp oil and how you had to light dark areas. I'd love to see more of those dark areas. And there was just a lot of items, a lot of just cool little things that I thought were awesome about the game, and I'd love to see them try out some of these little ideas again. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Maybe not all at once, but, plenty of them tried out throughout the series. It would probably take me a whole video to list out all the little things in Twilight Princess I want to see again. I think I kind of did do that. I might try to do it a little more specific like that again in the future. I don't know, maybe. Vixie Link asks, I'm wondering why they changed Staven's name to Byrne in the American version of Spirit Tracks. I mean, why even bother to do so? Also, why changing from the more awesome name, Staven, to the more boring one? Well, I guess you could say Staven got burned. Yeah, that was a terrible joke. Basically, I don't know. I guess I can't explain that either. I think there's just these, localization things where they decide to change names for whatever reason, and there's not a lot of reason for it, I guess. I guess they just feel that one name fits better, or maybe they're trying to make each individual country's version a little, unique experience. Collect them all, gotta catch them all, gotta get all the different country versions. I don't know. Iggsy asks, do you think Nintendo will ever use an on-rails mode of transport like the Spirit Train again, as many people found it restrictive, or will they use boats once more and maybe hot air balloons? Well, I see you've done your mailbag research with the hot air balloon idea, or maybe you thought of it yourself, at which point kudos for coming up with the same idea as me. But, I think that, I'm not sure what you mean by on rails. Do you mean, like, literally on rails, like a train, or do you mean, like, being restricted to specific pathways? I guess they're not really any different, because to be a train, you'd have to go on specific rails. Moving on, I think that, the restricted pathway thing is, I don't think it was the best idea for Spirit Tracks, and I think a lot of fans didn't like that linearity or whatever. But I didn't actually feel it was necessarily too linear, and doesn't even need to be done in a linear way. I mean, every Zelda game, you're on restricted paths. I mean, it's not like you can go anywhere, walk through the freaking walls, and climb up a canyon wall. So, I mean, there's ways that you can do it without even disrupting the standard Zelda adventure thing. Granted, a train might not be the best vehicle for that. I don't exactly expect to see a train again. I expect them to, I mean, maybe they'll use it again if it feels appropriate for a specific game, but I imagine they're not going to, like, go around saying, we have to use this vehicle again. I think the same goes for the boat, or even a flying vehicle. There's no specific reason to just go ahead and do them unless it fits the specific game, and I don't exactly expect to see boats all the time anymore. That said, I would like them to move away from vehicles and transportation methods, and maybe just have some, you know, good old-fashioned adventuring, you know, not going long distances. I don't know. Starius65 asks, what do you think is beyond Hyrule, and why does the Zelda maps change? Why do the Zelda maps change if it is the same Hyrule? Well, Hyrule is, although they talk about Hyrule being created by, like, the goddesses or whatever, I think they were mainly referring to, like, the land in general when they said that, because they've actually shown indications of, like, kingdoms and other lands beyond Hyrule. In fact, they pretty much almost said that, like, the Gerudo Desert and stuff, or indicated pretty heavily that it's not part of Hyrule. Ordon Province in Twilight Princess was pretty heavily indicated to be not exactly part of Hyrule. Then there's, like, Labrina, or how do you pronounce that, and Holodrum in the Oracle games and stuff. I mean, these are areas and regions outside of the Kingdom of Hyrule. As for the maps changing, I think that that doesn't mean anything, and I never have thought it means anything. I mean, think about it this way. You're playing a Zelda game, the region is Hyrule, and you play through the game, right? Okay, you get the next Zelda game, it's the same map. I mean, some of the game is different, of course, if it's a different game, but it's the same map. And you keep doing this in a long-running series. Why do you want to keep playing through the same region over and over again? I mean, it's the same place, but you can still redesign its layout just for, you know, to make the game fun, to make it original and make it unique. It's just not plot-related. Etriel asks, if the Skyward Sword lets you travel between Hyrule and Skyloft, do you think there will be puzzles where you will have to alternate between the two to advance, like alternating between past and present? Not particularly, actually, because, I mean, while you might be jumping back and forth, and we still don't really know how much they're going to make you do that and how regularly throughout the game, and what puzzles are going to connect the sky to the ground below? I mean, it'd have to be something pretty freaking big to reach that high, or that low down. I mean, it would have to be a significant, monumental thing, unlike the dimensional thing in A Link to the Past, and the past and present thing in Ocarina of Time. That just makes sense. Now, I guess they could have you, like, since Skyloft is supposed to be, used to be part of Hyrule Below, maybe you could have, like, reuniting them gradually throughout the game, and that could actually change the map or whatever. That's the only thing I can think of, though. Last question, Ganon vs. Majora asks, just out of sheer interest, what do you think of the Game Boy games, like Link's Awakening and the Oracle Seasons and Ages? I actually, unfortunately, have not played the Oracle games yet. It's pretty much next on my list, though. But Link's Awakening, in particular, is, in my opinion, one of the most awesome games of the series. I mean, there are things that are annoying about it, but there's so many things great about the game. There's a lot of, you know, all kinds of hidden content, all kinds of odd little Easter eggs to find, great gameplay. It's really difficult, too. It's a real challenge to play. And there's a lot of interesting story, little interesting areas, great dungeon design. I mean, there's some annoyances that actually drive me nuts, like the overworld having to switch items every freaking screen to go anywhere. I mean, that one was pretty bad for me. And, of course, I died like 20 times fighting Moldorm. But, overall, I think it's a very great game and one of the best in the series. And I expect to think similarly of the Oracle games, though, of course, I'll have to get back to you on that. Alright guys, that's it for this time. Be sure to send your questions to the contact page or email address in the description. And also, be sure to send Ocarina of Time 3DS questions again, because Mossies might be doing another one of the 3DS Ocarina of Time 3D mailbags. Though I guess that's not a certainty. I kind of try to avoid the subject of the game, this mailbag, to, just to give that to him for now. If you have any specific questions about it for me, like asking my opinion of what's been found out, specifically state in your email that you want me to answer it, I guess, or specifically state if you want Mossy's to. And after he's done with that, I'll probably just take all the questions and just start answering them. So I'll see you guys later.